strength, flexibility, muscle tone, standing head to knee, the most iconic pose in the hot yoga world, and we're gonna show you how to get there step by step. First thing I want to show you is the grip. So I'm going to have Elena interlace her fingers, where in the Bikram world they tell you to do it just below the toes. So go ahead, pick that up 2 inches below the toes. If she picks her foot up 2 inches below the toes and kicks the leg out, it's way too high and the foot is actually stuck here. So I'm going to have Elena come back again. Instead, I teach just below the ball of the foot, so it's lower. So now I want you to see that grip from this angle. She's going to hold just below the ball of the foot, kick that leg out, and you can see it's a lower grip. Now she's going to have more flexion in her foot. I'm going to show you from the side angle what I'm talking about. So now when you're holding just below the ball of the foot, you can look at the flexibility the foot has. It can hinge back. Because if you're holding too high, hold up a little higher, Elena. You can't get that foot to come back now because you don't have a hinge. Now go lower again. Even lower than that. Even lower than that. Now she can hinge her foot forward and backward. We want the heel to be out further than the toes and the foot is flexed. Because if you point your toe even 1/4 of an inch, you're going to tighten the hamstring. We want the foot to flex back towards your face. And before I show you the next point, I want you to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Any comments, questions, frustrations in this post, put them down below because I get all the comments. This is definitely a tough one. My favorite one, and I claim it, this pose, like Neil Armstrong claimed the moon, I claim standing head to knee for my own.
I claim this land as property.
Put your comments down below. Now, in the Bikram world, they want you to interlace all 10 fingers. So what happens is, watch how Elena kicks her leg out. If you interlace all 10 fingers, it creates a protruding of the wrist. And that is going to be great for a beginner, but as she gets more advanced, it's going to stop her, and I'll show you why later when we get to the advanced section. Instead, we want the wrist to be long and loose. So that gives her, see how she even went further out by doing that? That gives her another 1 inch or 2 of flexibility, a few more centimeters of flexibility without even getting more flexible by keeping that wrist nice and straight. What's protruded again? We don't want the protruding wrist. That's going to create tension. We want an extended wrist and soft wrist to create an extension. Let's talk about the standing leg. In the Bikram world, they say lock the knee, lock the knee. Watch this video and I tell you why I don't like the word lock. I do agree with Bikram. We want a straight leg because Bikram also says one unbroken lamppost.
Lamppost?
So watch that video. I get into detail of why we don't want to hyperextend the knee. So we're going to lift up the quadricep muscle. The weight's in the big toe mound of that right foot. And her weight comes forward to the big toe mound. We don't want the weight back on the heel. That's going to upset the knee. And the last thing, I'm going to have Elena face the front for a second. We want to make sure, this is really important, that the foot is parallel. If you turn your foot out to the side, turn your right foot out, then the weight's going to go into the inside of your knee, which is the meniscus, and that's going to be a big problem. So turn your foot back in and make sure that foot is parallel. So zip up the quad, weight to the big toe mound, zip up that quadricep muscle, and that's going to support the standing leg. Standing leg straight, not locked, not hyperextended, one unbroken lamppost. If it's impossible for you to hold the foot, even if it's your first day, if you can hold the foot, I'd rather you hold the foot. But if it's impossible for you to hold the foot, you can hold the knee. So I'm going to have her interlace the fingers, pick up her knee, and just balance here, her eyes fixed on the spot on the floor. I don't even want you kicking that leg out. Just hold your balance, find your grip, find your position. That's a good modification. Here's a second modification. If you can't hold your balance for more than 3 seconds, here's a great modification. If you're doing the right side, you're going to face the wall, get your hip all the way up against the wall, pick up your right foot, interlace the fingers, and your hips on the wall, and from there slowly extend the leg out. Good, now it's time to do the other side. I'm going to have Elena come back in. She's going to turn the other way for the left leg. Her right hip, not her shoulder, is touching that wall. That right shoulder that's against the wall should be not touching it. It's away from it. The hip's only touching it. And then come back in again. That's how you use the wall to modify. You would do the same thing with standing bow. Just a little factoid for standing bow. Your hip would touch the wall, not your shoulder, and then you come down from here on the right side. Good. And on the left side, you come back, face the other way. Your hip's touching the wall, not the shoulder. You gotta have that arm free. And now she comes down as her leg kicks back. Good. And that's the modification for using the wall for standing head to knee.
I didn't know I could do that.
And a little added bonus for standing bow. Now, some people can't start the position properly. Sometimes maybe it's because they have a big belly, but they've got a lot of flexibility. So if you can't hold your foot, but you have the flexibility to kick out, here's a great modification. You can hold the foot and the left arm comes in the inside of your leg. So you start here and now you can just extend the leg right out to the side. So once again, we're still at the beginning level. She's going to pick up her foot, kick the leg out. Let's say she can only kick her leg out just a little bit right there. And let's say the standing leg is bending. You'll be struggling with straightening the standing leg. I don't mind kicking that upper leg out, but your main focus should be on straightening the standing leg. Remember, not locking it, but zipping up the quad, getting that weight forward. Your main focus here is the standing leg. So for beginners, your primary thought, straighten that standing leg. And then once that leg is straight, now we get to the intermediate level. Now we're at the intermediate level where you can't quite straighten that leg out, but the standing leg is a given. You've been here for a while, so you're going to pick up your right foot or whatever foot you're holding. In this case, Elena's holding her left foot. She's going to extend her heel out. Remember, the toes are going to come back towards your face because we're creating that hinge. Soft wrists and soft forearms. Well, you're kicking out way too far. Come halfway. Halfway, this is intermediate. The toes are coming back towards your face, heel out. So what's her primary thought? Standing leg is a given now. It's shoulders down, arms extended to find the next inch, to find the next 2 centimeters. Here's one of the most profound things I say in all my videos, maybe the most profound thing I've ever said. You're gonna find your starting position in every pose, especially in this one, without judgment. And your only goal is the next inch, the next level, the next 2 centimeters. That's it. You can't think of the full position if it's 10, 12 inches away. It's too much. Your body will contract at the thought of it. You're gonna find the next inch, find the next level, and that's it. You can go 10 inches a day or 80 centimeters a day, 10 centimeters a day, you'll straighten your leg within a week. So give yourself that tangible goal. Because if your shoulders are up in the air, watch Elena, and you're holding your foot, and you're bending your elbows. Look how you're stuck here. Your shoulders drop, your arms extend. She's gone 3 inches further. Once again, shoulders up, elbows in. Shoulders down, arms extended. She just got 2-3 inches further out without even getting more flexible, keeping the wrists nice and loose. Remember, nice straight wrists. You're not gonna tighten those wrists, which we're gonna get to in the advanced level, coming up. But shoulders down, arms extended. That's your mantra, that's your primary thought for the intermediate level. So at the intermediate level, there's a pendulum swing. From here, all the way from here to here to here. That's where your next inch is. I'm gonna have Elena come back again. Somewhere along this line, this continuum, this pendulum swing is where you're gonna live. If this is your starting position, your goal, that next inch or next 2 centimeters is here. Then the next 2 centimeters here until you can go out. But watch this and memorize the pendulum swing from here to here. You don't want to be anywhere else except that position. In other words, you don't want your leg higher or lower. You want to stay in that pendulum swing. Key for the intermediate level. Here's one of the biggest mistakes I see people making in standing head to knee, usually at the intermediate or the advanced level especially. Every single picture posted on Facebook does this mistake, every single one.
Drives me crazy.
So I'm going to have Elena pick her foot up, kick her leg out, and what happens is the leg turns into the center and the foot turns out to the left. Look at the symmetry of this position. We want the leg out at hip width, the toe to turn vertical. Imagine my arm is my leg, my hand is my foot. The leg turns in, the foot turns out. We want the leg in the same line with the hip and the foot vertical. Turn your foot vertical. Look in the mirror. And why is that happening? Because of the IT band. Watch Elena again. Here she comes. She kicks the leg out. Her foot turns out to the side. It's the IT band right here. So now she brings her leg left, turns her foot to the right, and now you can, I actually felt her IT band just contract just there, change. So watch how you're walking down the street. If you're turning walking like a duck, a lot of people do, ballet dancers especially, turn your foot parallel, and that's gonna stretch the IT bands all the time, and this tendency won't happen. Turn your foot in. So beginners, primary thought is the standing leg, making sure that leg is straight and solid. Intermediate, primary thought, shoulders down, arms extended. Now that's a given for the advanced student. Now I'm going to have Elena pick up her foot, kick her leg out. I'm going to hold her leg so she doesn't worry about her balance because I want you to see the alignment because that's most important. Now that she's got her leg out, shoulders down, arms extended, now her primary thought, the advanced primary thought is upper quad muscle engaged right here. Upper quad muscle engaged because her elbows are going to start to drop down. And what happens is, bend your knee a little bit for a second. Her upper leg starts to bend when the elbows drop. So to avoid the tendency of keeping the upper leg bending, we're going to keep the quadricep muscle engaged. And now we have to keep the wrist loose. Here's where it comes in and not protruding that wrist. Loose elbows, loose shoulders, they drop down. Upper quads engaged, and that her head comes in and touches her knee. All around the primary thought of the upper quad muscle engaged. So once again, if you're protruding, I call this the G.I. Joe Kung Fu grip. If you're protruding too much with this grip, this has to be loose and relaxed, because now it's time for Elena to drop her elbows down. But if you've been holding on with the Kung Fu grip all this time, you're stuck here. So the wrists are tight, the forearms are tight. They have to be loose and relaxed. Like a hinge, they can drop down. Drop those elbows and wrists down. So once again, at the advanced level, she kicks her leg out. And a lot of times, many people have a tough time getting their head to the knee because their back is too straight. I want you to come down with a straighter back. When their back is too straight and they try to touch the forward to the knee, they touch their shin and they fall out of it. So here's a great tip, especially if you have a really long spine. You can look down from the beginning. Look down at the floor from the start. So watch this position. I did this in a short a few months ago. She's gonna pick up her right foot with Pashi. Check that out. She's gonna look down right from the start. And now she drops her elbows down. Now she's got the center of gravity over her knee. Look up again, down again. Look at her upper back. It doesn't move. Look head up again and down again. Her upper back doesn't move, and look how rounded the spine is. Relax for a second. This is a rabbit spine, which is a unique alignment concept from our lineage in Calcutta, the curling rabbit spine of standing hip to knee. So let's put it all together. She picks up her right foot, soft wrist, she's holding on with her fingers. Standing leg is straight. At the beginning level, that's your main concern. Now at the intermediate level, shoulders down, arms extended. To get to that full position, make sure your foot turns in vertical. Now at the advanced level, upper quadricep muscle engaged. She drops her elbows, her wrists, she curls in. Eventually the elbows go down below the calf muscle. Head touches the knee, standing head to knee. Isn't this an amazing pose? Isn't Elena amazing? And then she comes out in control, just the way she came in, standing head to knee. Remember, beginning and the end, the transition is just important as the pose itself. Now here's another advanced tip. Once you get to the full position, and you're down to that full position, you must relax the breath. When Elena's down at that full position, you can't hold on to your breath. If you hold on to your breath, you only be able to hold the posture as long as you can hold your breath. When we used to do this position back in the old days, in the advanced class, we used to hold this position for 2 minutes, each side, 2 minutes. How were we able to hold it that long? By relaxing the breath. So that's our episode for today. Thank you so much, Elena, for demonstrating this. I know this is a pretty tough pose to demonstrate. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. You want to learn all about hot yoga. Any questions, comments, frustrations, put them down below. I get to all the comments. And we'll see you in the next video. You smiling? You waving? Bye, guys.